Stakeholders in the All Progressives Congress have disagreed on zoning and have canvassed for Rotimi Amaechi, a Minister of Transportation, to run for the presidency. And staying with the 2023 elections, the Zoning Committee of the People's Democratic Party has reportedly thrown open the party's presidential ticket, kicking out zoning arrangements, even as the chairman of that committee has denied these reports. This is Plus Politics, and I'm Kofi Bartelsua. You're welcome to Plus Politics. I'm Kofi Bartels. A group of stakeholders of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, in Nigeria rather, on the Diaspora Leadership, or the aegis of the Diaspora Leadership Alliance, have called on the party and Nigerians to, ahead of next year's elections, seek common ground on broad national issues on a bipartisan basis, not based on personalities or geopolitical zones. The DLA maintained that it was high time that the party and electorates replaced the politics of personalities with the politics of issues and ideas. It therefore called on the Minister of Transportation and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amaechi to contest for the 2023 elections and the 2023 presidency. It noted that Nigeria is grappling with insecurity, poverty, economic hardship, and rising ethnic tensions, that the country needs a president with strength of character and expertise to get the country back to winning ways. Now we'll take a look at this development and the calls on the All Progressives Congress and indeed the calls on the minister to run for president. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have standing by Biodun Shomi. He's a political analyst, and Chief Tony Okocha, a member of the APC. Stay with us. Welcome back. As we said earlier, a group of stakeholders in the All Progressives Congress under the aegis of the Diaspora Leadership Alliance have called on the party and indeed Nigerians to, ahead of next year's elections, seek a common ground on the broad national issues on a bipartisan basis. They're also calling on the Minister of Transportation and former Governor of River State, Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, to contest for the 2023 presidency. We've noted a lot of things that Nigeria is grappling with, including economic hardship, poverty, insecurity, ethnic tensions that are rising, and they say the country needs a leader or a president with a strength of character and expertise to get back the country, or to get the country back to what they call winning ways. Chief Tony Okocha is a member of the All Progressives Congress. Biodun Shomi is a political analyst. Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Chief Okocha. What are your thoughts on the ongoing, zoning discussions in the All Progressives Congress? You're a member of that party. Hello, Chief Tony Okocha. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, we seem to be having an audio issue. Chief Okocha, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Okay, you don't sound too loud, but what are your thoughts on the ongoing discussions around zoning in the All Progressives Congress, particularly for the position of the presidential flag bearer of the party?
Well, the most I know in the zone is a zoning to the southern part of Nigeria. In short, presidency in the so that is where we
Chief Okocha, you sound very faint. I do not know if you can get closer to your phone because it's difficult to hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
can hear you clearly.
Okay, all right. Please go on.
Yeah, I said the zone arrangement, the discussion is that for 8 years, come back to the South 8 years as it because they had
All right, Chief Okocha, it's a bit difficult to hear you because of the low decibel. You know, you sound quite low. I don't know if you're using an earpiece. Probably you have to take it out and then talk normally because it's the difficulty here. You apologies for the difficulties, Chief Okocha. But while we're waiting for you to sort that out, be able to show me what are your thoughts on the discussions around zoning, not just in the All Progressives Congress, but in the two leading parties in Nigeria?
Yeah, the idea of zoning is not something new to us in Nigeria. We should not forget that when we got our independence, we started with confederal arrangement, where you have the Western region, the Eastern region, and the Northern region. So the idea of zoning ourselves into regions or into zones or into North and South is not something alien to us. And of course, is not something alien to any multi-ethnic nationality. Like confederal arrangement is always better. And if you take that further, if you look at the 1999 Constitution as amended, you realize that the issue of federal character is also in the Constitution. Federal character is more or less zoning, where you have to ensure that every state is represented at the ministerial level of governance. That's enshrined in our Constitution. And so that should not be something up for debate when it comes to political parties. In terms of political organization, APC on its own did not have a zoning arrangement within it. They have a gentleman's agreement on how they rotate power within the party. But what we have seen with what happened at Asaba last year, when 17 southern governors, bipartisanly decided that power should rotate to the south. That has, accentuated the issue of zoning, even though they have nothing like that in their party. Of course, the northern governors and emirs resisted that, preferring that it should come through a form of consensual or negotiations among the critical stakeholders. So that much said, what the APC has done so far is to ensure or zone the chairmanship of the party to Northwest. To North Central. That's where Adamu is from. So the chairman coming from North means the presidential candidate must come from the South. The essence of this is to give every section of the country a sense of belonging, to make sure that no one feels shortchanged in the way political governance is organized. That is the essence of it. It's for a sense of inclusion for all parties. If zoning is wrong, why are people calling on talking about the issue of gender when we need to bridge to ensure that women are well represented in government, and then we have to keep advocating for 35% of all elective posts should be reserved for women? It's exactly the same thing. It's to give women a sense of belonging, a sense of inclusion. So the idea of zoning is not anthemic, to our political arrangement in Nigeria in any form, at any level. So given that, what APC has done is actually in line with the spirit of the Constitution in terms of ensuring that different sectors, of the different zones in the country feel represented in government and they have a sense of inclusion.
Chief Cholokocha, are you there, sir? Okay. The chief whip of the Senate and former Abia State Governor, Orji Zokalu, 3 days ago called on the APC National Working Committee to reveal the zoning formula of the party ahead of the 2023 elections. Why do you think there is this foot dragging and delay in revealing the zoning formula of the APC? Don't forget, the forms are being sold. The party is making money from the forms. The primaries you have between April and June to conclude the primaries for the party. Shouldn't we know by now at least what the position of the party is so people don't waste their money and their time?
Again, I can't hear you. I don't know how to.
Hello, Chief Tony Okocha, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I said the chief whip of the Senate, a member of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Orji Zokalu, about 3 days ago, urged the National Working Committee of the APC to reveal its zoning formula ahead of the 2023 general elections. What do you think is responsible for the time it's taking for the APC to reveal its zoning formula? Already forms are on sale, and the primaries are meant to be concluded before the end of June, which means you have just some weeks to go.
No, we got get them as highly visible of growth. The conventional method. Now, first and foremost, that the of the candidate of the party should. That is what it is. I don't know the contention. Is he talking about how to or I will understand what he is. For Israel, where is getting now to the Nigeria. Now, with the general party, is not center the chairmanship. Not actually the party for the project come from the south. Out of that movie. And I said that the reason funding as now inclusion. So inclusion of all is ideological in what we call in those most and then begin to come.
All right, Chief Okocha, we have a difficulty getting a clear feed from you. I know I do hope we can reconnect with you or probably get to you through a phone line so that we can hear you clearly. I do apologize for the inconvenience this is causing. But please do bear with us, Chief Tony Okocha, because we want to hear what you're saying. Indeed, it's very important to this conversation, and would like to have your thoughts on this situation and the stories that we're looking at. So please, sir, bear with us. We'll get back to you in a matter of seconds. But I'll come to Mr. Shomi. Sir, what would you say about the time it's taking for the All Progressives Congress to reveal its plan? If it's going to go the way of zoning, which you say it should be a natural thing. Of course, you know that we don't have time on our hands and people are buying forms.
I don't think to get your question. Hello?
Yeah. Mr. Shomi, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Yes. Please go on. We can hear you. Hello, Biyadu Shomi, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you please repeat your question?
What are your thoughts on the time it's taking for the All Progressives Congress to reveal its zoning plans? Bearing in mind the fact that they have quite a number of presidential aspirants and forms are already on sale by the major political parties. The INEC timetable is already in motion, and they have till June to conclude their party primaries. What do you think about the time it's taking to reveal their plans, especially as the chief whip of the Senate, Dr. Orji Zokalu, is also asking the party to reveal their zoning formula?
Yeah, the two major political parties are playing political games. One is watching the other and seeing where the direction where the other is going before coming up with its own plan. What is clear is that both parties are in a phase. The clamor, for power to shift to the south, within the APC, and I'm sure that clamor is not being ignored. that informed the choice of the chairman coming from North Central to make it possible or a reality that power will shift to the South. Now the question is, which part of the South? Southeast, Southwest, or South-South? That's a different issue completely. And I'm sure that is what will be resolved at the National Convention or through consensus has been speculated by some within the party. So whatever it happens, whether it's through convention or election or through selection or through consensus arrangement, what is certain in APC is that the candidate will come from the South. That is very, very certain. In the case of the opposing party, it's still not clear until their National Executive Committee comes out with their position on the issue of zoning. So, be that as it may, there will be clamor and a new, how do I call it, political interest between, amongst the zones in the South, precisely Southwest, South-South, and Southeast, trying to see whether their zone can produce the president or not. I think that is what is up, for determination currently. And that is why you hear speculations about Emefiele coming out, you hear about Amaechi coming out, you hear about Tinubu or the vice president, who is here to confirm his interest in the race. So that is what I think is on the table. It's not about whether the power will be zoned or not. It has been zoned to the South. It's a de facto. You cannot have the chairman from North Central and also have the president coming from the North.
So you are double sure that the fact that the chairman emerged from the North Central is directly indicative of the fact that the party has already taken a position on zoning. However, one of the names that has been associated with running for a presidency on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, has said he's been shouting last week, saying that the issue of zoning is never part or does not exist in the Constitution of the All Progressives Congress and indeed in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and as such, it cannot be an issue for the APC. He's a ranking member of the party. What do you say to that?
Oh, yes. To be fair to Governor Yahaya Bello is right. Zoning is not in APC constitution. It's in PDP's constitution, but not in APC's constitution. What the APC has done is a form of an arrangement whereby, the principle of equity and fairness will kick in to influence the decision to produce the presidential candidate from the South. That's exactly what has been done currently. And if you go by the tradition of APC in the past, or the succeeding parties in the past, you realize that once the presidential candidate comes from the North, the chairmanship comes from the South. That has been the pattern of most of the political parties till now. Otherwise, you have huge cries of marginalization. In the case of my friend, Governor Yahaya Bello, he's no doubt he's a good candidate, no matter what anybody says about him. He's a good candidate, he's right, he's not in the Constitution, that APC should zone the presidential candidate to the South. He's also not in APC's Constitution. But where the problem lies is if you have a situation where the chairman is from the North and the presidential candidate is also from the North, in my view, it will only deepen suspicion amongst between the South and the North, and that will not go well for our democracy in any form. But in terms of Yahaya Bello as a person, he's right. He has said the truth. It's not in APC's constitution. But then, the powers that be have managed the situation in a way that it will be very difficult not to produce the presidential candidate from the South. They will be hard put to explain why the North will have to produce the presidential candidate and at the same time, produce the chairman of the party.
Interesting. And indeed, if a cursory look at the names that are associated with the APC presidential ticket, a number of them have not declared. You have majority of them coming from the southern part of Nigeria. You have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have David Umahi, Rochas Okorocha, Orji Uzokalu. You have Gordon Emefiele, who has denied that he's interested in that position. Yemi Oshibajo, as well as I've seen some posters, campaign posters of Ben Ayade of Cross River State, believe you me, and a certain Rotimi Amaechi, who this diaspora group is throwing its weight behind. What are your thoughts on this endorsement by the diasporan group of the APC of the Minister of Transportation to be the flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress in the presidential election?
Yes, anybody can aspire within the APC, just like a higher below this comer from North Central, irrespective of what the leadership is trying to do. In the same way, Amaechi is from the South. He is also qualified and competent to come out. But from the body language of Amaechi and from his speeches, it doesn't seem very clear that he intends to contest for the election. Except something has changed from the last time where I had Amaechi, mentioning something like he will end up in his father's house. He's going back to his house, he's not contesting the election. But that said, that does not mean a day is a long time in the life of politicians. So that does not mean he has not changed his mind on that. And it's just the same situation with the other political parties. In the case of Oshibajo, I cannot see Yemi Oshibajo coming out if Tinubu is in the race. It's so difficult because the structure which Oshibajo will rely on is actually managed and controlled by Tinubu, which is the Southwest. So, and I can't see anybody emerging without a structure in their zones. So, Amaechi has some structure, but how the depth of it is still debatable, given the role Wiki has played in Rivers and what has happened in other parts of South Sudan.
Interesting. You've talked about the fact that he has said in recent times that he does not have any plans to be the president. But like you said, a politician can change. If 24 hours is too long for a politician to change their mind, there is a certain Thanksgiving service holding in Port Harcourt this weekend. And the indication of, from what I can see, the clamor by some of his supporters for him to declare is growing louder. There was a publication that was released some days ago, and the news flew to town that he had declared, but of course that wasn't true. This special Thanksgiving service with a theme, I won't go into details anyway, it's holding on Saturday. Do you suspect that this might be the point where the man declares?
Yes. You would always have this clamor, either by those initiated by those possible candidates or by their supporters that are bound, to benefit from their election. It will always remain like that. But what I see happening, I don't see an Amaechi contesting that election. It's going to be tough because look at the structure of APC in the South-South. To what extent will APC control the state in the South-South without the support of PDP? No, that's a bit tough. Ordinarily, South-South is not the home of APC. And no matter what happens, given the contradictions which has unfolded, under Buhari's leadership, it's going to be more difficult, for APC, to win overwhelmingly in the South-South, and I also suspect in the South-East. So my bet is APC is likely going to feel more comfortable, with a South-West, North-West alliance, and possibly look at a candidate from South-West and also the vice presidential candidate from North-West. That's my bet. It's based on structure and the votes they think they can get from each area.
Interesting permutation by you. Only time will tell. But I want to thank you very much for your time, Biodi Shomi. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Biodi Shomi is a political analyst and has been a guest on the first part of Plus Politics. Thanks for staying with us. Up next, we bring an interview we had with the INEC Commissioner for Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, where we discussed the INEC advisory to political parties to ensure their primaries are conducted properly.